Okay, it is officially panic time.
Unexpected vlog today.
I'm not sure whose channel this vlog is going to be on, but I'm recording the intro now because when we get in the car I won't be able to.
I have words to say about my doctor's office today.
So I have to get him ready because basically Michaela and I are both part-time wheelchair users. So she has a chair that we made. The wheelchair videos on my channel. She'll put a link down in the description. Basically, we're both part-time wheelchair users, and she has a wheelchair assessment today to see if her doctors will approve a wheelchair for her and approve it to be covered by insurance.
So last week they had informed me that it was possible that they would change my wheelchair consult and my autonomic doctor appointment to the same day and do it virtually, and I said, well, that's stupid. Why would you do that? You can't measure me for a wheelchair if I'm not physically there. And they're like, well, we'll see. And they had to reach out to the doctor, so they reached out to the doctor like 16 times. Like, at this point, the manager of the neurosciences is aware of the situation, which is scary and weird. But I had called Thursday, I had called Friday, and they were like, we don't know. And then I called yesterday, and they're like, we really don't know, and we're really sorry, and they seemed like they were getting annoyed. So I get this call today. Well, I didn't realize my voicemail inbox was full. And so I got this call, and right as I picked it up, the call disappeared, and I was like, oops, my bad. And then they called again, so I was like, and it said Freighter Hospital, and I was like, shit. So I was like, hey. And they said, we got some news for you. Do you want to come in today at 3? And it's absolutely okay if you don't. And I'm like, you guys are so lucky I set aside today, but I'm really pissed off. Because, like, you can't just be like, hey, come in later today at 3. Like, this is the first time that, like, autonomic to get into takes 6 months to a year to set up an appointment, even if you're established, which is frustrating. So, yeah, I'm kind of frustrated, but they're combining the autonomic and the wheelchair clinic, so maybe it'll be okay, maybe it'll prove good, and I'll still get to talk to them about my issues. Worst case scenario, I send them a lengthy message and they go, oops, you should really talk to him about that. Why didn't you do that at your appointment? Let's schedule another. So, yeah.
She originally did not have this appointment today. This appointment was supposed to be next week. So the problem with that is that nobody was prepared, and I have been going to some of her appointments with her because she has a hard time communicating to her doctors. So I've been helping her with, like, we make lists of things together that she knows she wants to talk about prior to the appointment so that she doesn't forget anything. Just like a lot of stuff. I help her with a lot of things like that. So I had other things I had to do today. So basically what we're going to do is she's coming out here. She's going to drive me around, and we're going to get my errands done really quick, as fast as we possibly can. Then we're driving back here, I'm getting my car, and we're driving out to her house, which is closer to where we need to be going. Because her doctor's in kind of a bigger city. It's not, like, near her house like mine is. I need to make a couple calls to some home health agencies because my blood pressure monitor broke. So it doesn't work anymore. He's got eye boogies. So it doesn't work anymore, so I need to get a new one. And my doctor wrote a prescription for one, but now I have to figure out where I'm going to get it. So that's going to be a couple calls that I have to do, which is why I'm having her come out here so that she can drive while I make those calls.
She is going to come, but she has to run some errands first. And I almost died on the way in because I keep looking the wrong way. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this, but I hate driving. Hashtag she hates driving. So I got I looked both ways, and then I looked to the right once more, and when I came out, there was this semi speeding, and they had to go like sort of around me, but I was able to like accelerate in time for them to swerve back, but they kept honking at me until I turned off the road and my anxiety freaked out. But yeah,
that's kind of what today is today is kind of an excessive amount of being freaked out, but I think we can do this. I was definitely not prepared for this morning, but I think we can do it. So here we go.
so I'm gonna go. I'm at Brielle's house now, and yeah.
Okay, it's her first time trying Five Guys. She decided to try a hot dog. I've never tried the hot dogs from there before, but we'll see.
I got a free soda.
She got a free soda because we said it was her first time, and they were like, "Oh, well, then you can have a soda."
Because I wanted a shake, and they said they were embarrassed.
They're out of shakes right now. They don't have the materials.
It's hot.
Yeah, it's a hot dog.
A hot.
Is the bacon good?
We're taking off.
What?
We're taking off.
Yeah. Good? Yeah. I fucking told you. Nobody believes me. I tell everybody this. Five Guys is so underrated. They're the best. I love Five Guys.
Sponsor us, please.
What?
Sponsor us, please.
Oh my god, if they sponsored me, I would get, you know those inside of the mouth tattoos? The tattoos that are inside of your mouth under here? I'd get one that said Five Guys.
No.
I would get one on my body that said Five Guys. Like somewhere. I would do it. Oh my god, I'm gonna do it. Yes.
You can't get a tattoo. You're Village Demos.
I have a tattoo.
I forgot.
Okay, so now we are eating.
Starting route Stephen Drive.
I called around and I finally found somebody who will do my blood pressure cuff. So they're gonna ship it to me though, so I don't even have to go in. This is gonna be crazy. But here we go. So, yep. So we decided it would be better if we went straight to the appointment instead of going back to get my car and going to her house, because it might be just more like, just to be like safer, because we may want to make sure we don't miss this or aren't late. So why don't you talk for a second about what we're doing? Because the thing is this morning I was like, yeah, we're going to a wheelchair appointment, okay, bye. So why don't you kind of explain what's going on?
I have no idea. Basically, what happened was they had told me last week, like Wednesday, that they might put my autonomic doctor and the wheelchair assessment on the same day, like squish them together and then put it virtual. And I said, well, that's a problem, because aren't you guys measuring me for shit? You might wanna like change your mind about that, and let's do it in person and not the same day. And so I called every day because I was like, you guys want to schedule this and not even ask me what's going on, so like, are we doing it or are we not? So basically, yesterday when I called, I said, you know what, we're probably not going to do it at this point. They're like, okay, well, we'll have someone give you a call back just so you know like what's going on, so that you have a plan. And so they picked up this morning and they're like, hey, I'm guessing you really don't want to do this, but we're gonna put you on for today at 3 to come do your autonomic and your wheelchair consult at the same place at the same time in person. So that's fine. So basically we're heading out to main campus. So there's a bunch of different places, and this one's called main campus. It's the specialty clinics. Basically they took my autonomic appointment and I guess they're just inviting the wheelchair people in, which is weird because they told me that they'd have to like talk to the dealer, like the vendor and the physical therapist to find the right time, and for them to just throw everything together seems really strange and concerning. So
Because, like, if you got, so my appointment, because supposedly she and I have the same type of appointment. The difference is, yours got set for what, a half an hour? You said?
at the end of the day, which they assumed it would take longer than that, but they set it for a half an hour.
My appointment is set for 2 to 3 hours. So that seems kind of weird.
And they didn't really describe to me what we were doing, but they did confirm that I would be able to ask all my questions and we would get me measured. Well, they didn't confirm that part.
So the thing is like, I know what my appointment is going to be, which is basically, okay, you go in, you talk to the physical therapist about your abilities, and you talk to the vendor about what specifications you are wanting out of your mobility device, and then they have a bunch of products there because they have my notes, so they know everything about me already. So they bring a bunch of products thinking, here are some things that might work for her, and then they have you try them out in real life situations. So like, they'll take you to an area that simulates outside. They'll take you to an area that simulates like a hill, you know, like a bunch of different things so that you can test to see which product might be best for you, or if you guys need to order something else and try something else. And they fit you, right? So they measure you and everything like that. So
for it to be scheduled for a half an hour seems weird. I was gonna call the clinic and just confirm that like that's what we were doing today, or if this is separate from the appointment that I have on the 22nd, which is the wheelchair PT. I'm not 100% sure because they're not really clarifying. They just told me that they wanted to smush the appointments together, and that's all they told me. So I did tell them this morning that it's not. I told them that this wasn't acceptable, and I didn't like that they did this to me.
that they didn't explain it.
That they didn't, well, not even that they didn't explain it, that they tried to schedule it without me. And they took till the very last second to schedule it. And she said, oh, yeah, we're really sorry, and me and the nurse are really, really upset. Because we have so much we need to talk about, and to do the wheelchair clinic at the same time just seems like a lot. And, like, I don't know how they would get the vendors there in time if they're just putting it all together on the last
They
second.
won't. The thing is like, mine, we had to schedule it a month out just because the vendors, and your hospital is going to use the same vendors mine is.
Probably.
Because it's in Wisconsin. So like, we have National Seating and Mobility, iDrive, you know, all the big brands. And basically what a wheelchair appointment would look like is the PT shows up and the wheelchair vendor shows up with you, and sometimes your doctor is there. I know my rheumatologist is going to be there. So the fact that they, you know, getting a physical therapist and that specializes in your condition, and also a vendor that is covered by your insurance, all of those things being connected at the same time takes a while to set up.
I don't think it will at this point. I think they're just fucking with me.
I know that it might feel that way. I mean,
It
we're
feels
gonna
like
go
they're-
in and we're gonna figure it out.
I looked on my chart. They didn't cancel the wheelchair PT, so I'm wondering if that's the day with the vendors and they're going to do like a mobility assessment today. But I don't know. It seems really weird. I'd like to call because at this point I'm getting really fucking anxious. I'm really anxious. But I would like to know what I'm walking into, you know? Because they know that I drive out here an hour away and I'm putting myself out there open and stuff. I haven't gone to main campus in 6 months. 5 months, 6 months, something like that. And a lot of the appointments they were like
because it's an hour away?
Well,
Why?
no, because Milwaukee is kind of like where the coronavirus is growing right now. It's kind of where it's the hottest spot.
Yeah.
Not the epicenter, but the hot spot. And the emergency department is like on our way in. I wanted to avoid main campus as much as possible because of the fact that I knew the cases were higher there and the emergency department's right there, and like I've had a lot of anxiety about it, but I know they're taking a lot of precautions, so hopefully we'll be okay as long as I don't accidentally take off my mask.
Originally, we put out a video already. This is already on my channel, of us finding a wheelchair at the thrift store and redoing it and like making it really cool. That's already out on my channel.
So the thing we're thinking about, so I literally said to the nurse, I said, you know what, if I have to use that chair, that's fine, it's usable. The thing is, I know we're dealing with all of my other comorbidities, especially the things that deal with the chronic pain and the fibromyalgia. And I was just saying to them that if we could get it fitted, because I was reading that fitted chairs help decrease the amount of chronic pain you're in when you're using the chair, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not get rid of it, but just decrease.
That would be better.
That would be better, but I'm literally not signing anything until I know insurance is going to cover it.
So the thing that I'm saying is the wheelchair video, the video that I posted of us doing that wheelchair, that is the first time that her doctors have been cool with her having a wheelchair. I wanted you to tell the story from the beginning.
I don't like that.
So basically what happened was she's been diagnosed with POTS for how long?
Almost 2.5 years.
So like 2.5 years.
And basically, if you guys don't even know further than that, I've had a lot of the symptoms throughout my childhood, but I don't. We've talked about this, like the POTS that I must have, because my testing was not very formal, I guess. Well, it was formal, but it wasn't formal. If you want to hear that horror story, leave a comment. Where I go, they normally do the full autonomic testing. They don't just do the tilt like the original place did. So we want to retest just to make sure, because they keep telling me that I'm POTS-like, but I was 1 beat off, literally 1 flipping beat off, which is really frustrating. But I've asked them. I've said, well, why couldn't I do part-time wheelchair? And they said, no, like, you'll develop muscle atrophy and yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, well, you people suck, because, like, I need to be able to live my life. Thanks, COVID, I'm not living my life. But so, Brielle finally wrote something to my doctors, and they finally were like, fine, we will support you, but you have to do this wheelchair clinic. When I originally called to schedule it, they said, yep, this is the thing with the vendors, and I will call you back with the date so that we can get everybody together and everything will be good. And I'm like, great, awesome. But when they called for this appointment, they literally didn't explain what was going on. I was convinced that they were taking this appointment with the vendors and smushing it, and I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. Where are the vendors? Like, how are you doing that? I don't think that's legit. If we're keeping the appointment on the 22nd with the physical therapist, then I'm guessing my doctor is not coming to that.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he is. I'm slightly worried we're not going to see him today.
Why? Who would you see?
Huh?
Who would you see?
I don't know. I'm worried this is not going to go the way I think it's going to go. It has to be perfect and everything just has to go my way.
So basically, long story short, we got her doctor, the autonomic doctor, to approve a wheelchair for ambulatory use. Problem is, we called her insurance, and
2 people told me that it was completely covered.
Like 100%.
Well, 100% covered, even though the policy bulletin said that it wasn't. And they said, oh, well, sometimes that just didn't happen. Then I called this one lady, and she said, well, no, the policy bulletin says right there that it's not covered, so, like, why the fuck are you calling me? And I said, well, my doctor's office keeps telling me that everything's going to be fine, and they're not explaining it, and I'm really worried they're going to charge me for something that I don't want to be charged with, you know? So I had a conference call between my insurance, me, and the doctor's office, and I'm like, I'm really sad because I feel so bad for the nurse, because the insurance company was like, hi, have you read our policy bulletin? And they were like, no. And but we help tons of different people with tons of different insurances get their wheelchairs. So we'll probably be fine. And so they were like, well, you probably should read our policy bulletin anyways, because if you don't do this correctly, we're not giving her the chair. They're like, okay, well, and they're like, oh, well, you have this app to find the policy bulletin, right? And they're like, no. They're like, well, you could probably Google it. And I'm like, I could my chart it. And she goes, oh wait, no, I can use Google. That's fine. And like, at the end of the call, that the insurance person was like, okay, well, thank you. Have a good day. Bye. And I was like, woo, that was a doozy. So I feel really bad for my nurse. Sorry, nurse.
So I guess it's like a big question mark if insurance is going to cover it.
And I kind of really want to know that before I continue to keep driving. I'm getting really anxious because basically no one in my family is okay with this. But I don't know what else to do because
why do you want a wheelchair?
I need to be able to live my life.
Right, but like, can you give me exact examples of like how you would use it?
So, I don't know if I've said this in another video, but basically my day out in public outside ends at 4 p.m. If I am not home, if I'm not in my dorm or home before then, my flare-ups happen. Like, they happen towards the evening. Maybe not exactly at 4 p.m., but they're pretty... By then, normally, it's when it ramps up. It's anywhere between, like, 12 and 4 where they go, hey, we're peeking our heads, and then 4 o'clock's like, I'm here, bitch! So, by 4 o'clock, I usually have to be home because my symptoms are so severe, at least to me, that it's no longer safe for me to be outside or driving or things like that.
Because what would happen if you did?
I can't. I'm worried to be by myself out in public when those happen. Because if I become unable to process or do anything because I'm in so much pain or like fighting something, there's no one around to help me. And even when Brielle's around, it's still like I'm freaking the fuck out. Because no one ever wants to be stuck in Walmart and have medical issues, but they happen. Well, there's always migraine. Migraine is always it's pretty usual to have a migraine flare. Those are the ones that happen between 12 and 4. It's anytime in the afternoon when my body just goes, we're done. Now I'm on, since school ended, now I'm on meds that I can probably take while I'm out and about. I used to be on meds that put me straight to sleep when I got a migraine, so I would have to leave work, I'd have to leave school. When I wasn't even on meds, like in the fall semester, it was like fighting a migraine to get home, and like your whole body just like aches, and it just feels like everything's pounding, and you feel like you can't walk anymore. And yeah, my migraines are fun. Oh, also paralysis episodes. They're not hemiplegic. I don't know what they are. Maybe they're hemiplegic. Who knows?
So,
but basically,
you mean hemiplegic? So her episodes, from as far as I'm aware, as like what I've seen, basically she gets like sort of like a weakness in her body.
But not like a...
It's not paralysis, it's weakness. So like she can still move if forced, but like it feels like she can't. But then like if, like let's say she's standing and it happens, if I like pushed her, she would catch herself. Like she wouldn't, fall. So there's like paralysis versus weakness. So paralysis is the hemiplegic, and then there's weakness, and she has more of like the weakness episodes. And it's difficult because like, it feels like your mind is telling your body that it can't move. So those happen.
And then you've got the pot stuff. So basically when I'm out and about, there's definitely like body weakness anytime, but more specifically towards the afternoon, when you've spent all your spoons and that energy is just gone. You've got the dizziness, so like I'll be trying to think about what I'm trying to buy, but I keep forgetting because I'm I'm dizzy and I'm trying to focus on being stable, but I'm really dizzy. A lot of times lately I have been ending up on the floor in Walmart and just sitting there, which the floor in Walmart is disgusting, everybody. Shocker. And then like there's fibro, so there's like my neck and shoulders that like, my shoulders like to spasm, they like to throb, they like to hurt, my neck likes to just ache all the time for no reason, and nothing calms it down. And so it's just basically everything all together. It's just a lot, and it's hard to handle everything at once and then convince yourself to go out in public after you know that you are fighting something. So that's why I've been asking for it, and that it's because like I know a lot of people with POTS also do that, and that it really helps them. So it was really frustrating, and I felt really defeated when my doctors were like, no, you can't do that. So basically, the issue here is that my family eventually I believe that my family eventually needs to become accustomed to it. But will that ever happen? I don't think so. So basically it'll be anytime I'm on I'm on campus, which I don't even want to talk about the fall right now. It's not looking good. But it would be anytime I'm on campus or anytime I'm out in public by myself or with you. Or if I'm at a doctor appointment by myself. It will not be something where I'm with my family unless it's going to be something like we're out in public for a long time. But then I'm gonna get backlash from them and it's just not gonna go well. So
Well, like, can you explain to me, like, okay, so you're out in public and you start having a flare. How is being able to get your wheelchair out gonna help? Like, what is that gonna decrease?
well, it's gonna keep me, basically it decreases the amount of like, so if I have a migraine, you know, you get like the added stuff like more dizziness and more lightheadedness. So during a migraine, my body's able to at least calm down a little bit if I'm sitting, and I'm able to get around and focus on what I'm doing, because we've tried those electric carts when we go to the store, and those definitely help to some degree, and like I'm able to keep shopping, and I'm able to stay out places longer. Worst case scenario, we go to the doctors. Well, okay, this isn't the worst, but worst case scenario, we go to the doctors and the appointment is like talking to your doctor about the wheelchair, not necessarily talking to a physical I just
therapist
don't
or getting
understand why
sized.
they would say that they smushed them.
Yeah, me neither. To me, that doesn't make sense. So we're gonna see what this is, if it's actually like a wheelchair appointment or what's going on. So quality is about to drop a little bit because if I film anything else, it's going to be on our phones. But, well, if I film anything from inside the appointment. So we're about to go in. Ready? Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. So we are going in right now. Hey squad, so we are now driving home-ish. We are making 2 stops, but so why don't you tell them
We were
what
really
happened?
scared. We were really scared that they just didn't have this stuff handled very well. Especially because they just made an impromptu appointment happen. It was like, I'm thinking this is kind of shady. We thought this wasn't going to be put well together and we were going to have to make multiple trips. But when we got there, everything was, they just knew what they were doing and it was really nice.
Oh, well, the first thing that happened was I had to go to the bathroom and get Arlo some water because, long story short, I had an allergic reaction and I needed to do an injection and I wasn't comfortable just doing it in fucking public, so I went to the bathroom.
I told her if she waited a minute that she could use the bathroom inside the clinic, but
In 1 mile.
I was afraid. So I waited. I ran to the bathroom and then as soon as I came back, it literally took me 2 minutes and she was gone. I was like, fuck. So
I told the nurse to go back out and get you.
So the nurse came and got me, and then we went back. And yeah, so when we got there, she had to do orthostatics. Good news, she does not have postural hypertension or orthostatic hypertension. That my doctor calls it that, but then your doctor calls it postural hypertension. So. Uh-oh, what's happening?
I'm confused.
Uh-oh.
I'm confused.
What are they doing?
What am I doing?
Somebody just moved. They moved a car. Don't freak out.
Can I go? Was there like an accident?
It looks like it. Yeah.
Turn right on Wisconsin 83.
Car guy.
Then turn left.
Maybe.
The McDonald's is right there.
So anyway,
That was scary.
that was fun. So her issue is more with tachycardia than like blood pooling.
Once we did the orthostatics, the physical therapist was there almost immediately. And within 2 minutes of her getting there, the vendor stumbled in with his backpack.
The poor
I
guy.
thought he was like a college student.
He looked so young, and the poor guy was like rushing all over the place. Oh my god. She asked you a lot of questions. What did she ask you?
Lots of questions about my body. She is the only provider I've ever seen that's actually okay. Scratch that. Physical therapists are the only ones that are ever concerned about me falling. And they were getting really into technical talk and things like that. And we can do a screen recording later for the vlog of what they sent. Basically, there's 2 different chairs I could go with. So he's gonna bring both.
It's just that they wanted to bring both of these chairs so that she could try both of them. He said that you have to try the chair.
Okay.
You have to try the chair that they plan on getting you. Otherwise, you can't get it. Because insurance won't cover it unless they prove that you've tried it before. Basically, they said her there was a rigid one that she could do where basically instead of folding, the wheels just pop off. And that one has a lower back. And then the other one has,
It goes up to here or something.
it goes up to the back, it goes all the way up, and it folds. So those are the 2 different chairs. So she's gonna try them both out. He's gonna come down to her house and go look at the house, the vendor. When? The 22nd?
22nd.
Yeah. So that's when that's gonna happen.
Between 2 and 4.
Basically, we talked a lot about her different needs, things. What is she? What is her lifestyle like, and what are her
Things I wish I could do.
things that she wishes she could do that she can't do right now because she doesn't have the chair, that kind of stuff. So I think that it'll be good for them to have you try this so that you can see if it's helpful for you. And then after they left, the autonomic doctor came in.
Very confused. I was very confused too. basically, we talked about the 3 pillars of POTS treatment. Which, it makes sense now that he, like, I think that's the first time that I've said I mentally struggled with the physical therapy, because I think he kind of got it, because he's never done that metaphor before. So I think he broke it down a little better, and it was just a lot easier to understand. So, what are the 3 pillars of POTS treatment? The salt in the water, it's the tanking, and then it's the fuel. That's the fuel, and then you gotta compress it, because we can't have a gas tank that's just like a water balloon.
Police reported ahead.
That just goes little. You gotta compress it, because right now we're squeezing an empty toothpaste, and then exercise for the heart so that the engine keeps going. Because if you let the car just sit in the garage for like years on end, the car gets bad. Right. So it makes more sense now. I forgot the compression part. I did talk to him about how like the physical therapy regimen just seems like a lot all at once, especially because you do that much and then you increase it all the time, and it seems really overwhelming to me. He did get a little frustrated. He was frustrated. He was kind of frustrated, and I can understand why. Basically, we talked about that kind of stuff, and I'm gonna just go through like all of his recommendations. Here are the instructions from the appointment. Continue the compression stockings and abdominal binder every day. Sip your fluids all day. The goal is 64 ounces. He prescribed some empty gel capsules, so she's gonna fill them with salt and take them like 3 to 6 capsules a day. She needs to start working on her exercising, so we need to find the POTS exercise regimen, and we need to schedule you doing the exercise bike for a certain amount of time every day. They're going to provide her with a disability parking placard. Well, they usually start with a temporary one, and then you get the permanent one eventually. So we'll do that. And then the wheelchair is only as needed. So. And then the guy is coming out. So basically this is going to be a couple months progress. They were talking about doing a trial chair, but I was telling them how we have the one we updid. So it didn't really seem like they had an answer about that. I don't know if maybe he's leaving a chair to try out. I don't know how that's gonna work. Next week I try out a chair, and then he's gotta wait for the doctors to write everything up. So the autonomic doctor has to write something, and the physical therapist has to write something. And she said it seemed like to me she like looked at it and it was like, there's definitely enough to go on here. The vibe that I got from her was that basically it's really difficult to get insurance to accept certain things, and in this situation she's gonna need to try harder, because the insurance that Michaela has is rough. They, in the policy bulletin, say they don't cover ambulatory use wheelchairs, and it's gonna be really difficult to convince them. But they did say they're not gonna just bill it. Like, no, they would definitely talk to you first. The vendor was like freaked out, because I was like, well, basically once I know that you guys have sent all the medical stuff off, like, then I need to be calling insurance.
Watch out, vehicle stop.
So basically what happened is she sat down and was they were talking about, okay, here's how the process is going to work. I'm going to send this to this person, send that to that person, and this is how getting a wheelchair works. And then Michaela had said, okay, so when is the point that I start calling my insurance once a week? And they were kind of like, oh, well, we're going to reach out to them. And he's like, well, why would you call them once a week? And I'm like, because if I don't, then they don't get pissy with me, and they don't throw a hissy fit, and then they just don't do it for me. Like, I have to call them and remind someone to constantly check the status, because otherwise if I call them out of the blue and be like, why didn't you approve this? They're going to be like, well, this and this and this didn't get done. And the thing is that if I'm not helping coordinate what the doctors are supposed to be communicating to the insurance, then it doesn't happen. In health communication, there's a lack of like communication to you as the patient. There's like lack of communication from you to the insurance, and it's difficult when that happens, because then you're at a standstill in the middle, like, I didn't do anything. Like, I literally didn't do anything. So, especially when you have chronic illness and you're trying to get things improved constantly, it's really difficult to do so because you're not kept in the loop, and then by the time someone tells you, they say it's denied. So, I've been trying as of late to be insurance's asshole. I've been trying to get up their butt and just trying to I'm trying to be proactive. I want them to know that this is important to me. I want them to have record that I've called enough that it's important to me. And I need them to be serious with me, because I can't have two agents say, oh yeah, doesn't matter what the policy bulletin says, as long as there's medical necessity, yada yada yada, and then one person that says no matter what you do, it's not going to happen. So like that's unacceptable.
That's like a big disconnect.
Yeah, like, get on the same page, people. I get you're all in different places, working remotely, like, whatever. Be on the same page. Like, at this point, it's frustrating, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to find somebody. I'm going to call and say, I need someone that I'm going to be able to get back in touch with, and we're going to be friends, and I'm going to call you every week to ask about this, because this is important to me. It's important for me to be able to live my life, and if you guys aren't going to support it, then you all suck, and I'm going to go crawl in a hole and cry for the rest of my life, and that's just what I'm going to do. So, I mean, I was already doing that, but we're trying not to have that. So, yeah, we're gonna. It's hard as someone with chronic illness to just get things done, and so I'm trying really hard to do this, but at the same time, I'm kind of going out of that societal or that stereotypical expectation of, like, you let everybody else handle it. Like, at this point, no one's gonna help me unless I ask for it, which is kind of a big life lesson. But especially with chronic illness, like, it's even harder to realize because you don't even have the energy to ask for help sometimes. So
yeah, it's really rough. And the thing is like,
I'm very insightful.
There's a lot of people that have to hound everybody, and like I have to the current person that I'm hounding is my allergist, because I have mast cell activation syndrome, and there's some testing that I need to get done every year to make sure to, like, see where things are. And I need this testing done, and it's past a year now. I called several times, and I'm like, hey, this is really important. My insurance needs this information so that I can, like, you know, get things done. And he's like, well, and the nurses are like, well, we'll have them get back to you. And that was like 3 weeks ago, and they still haven't gotten back to me.
Have you been calling?
Yeah, I call like once a week. So I think
calling daily.
I think eventually I'm gonna call again tomorrow and say, hey, like, WTF. So that was a fun, long day.
Yeah, we got the parking placard, and we talked about that stuff, and hopefully we'll find a way to get me more compression stockings, but I literally cannot spend any more money until I start paying off my credit card.
So that's kind of the boat that we're on now. We're basically heading home now, and then we've got some stuff to do there. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys
Keep following to see me get a chair.
Yeah, keep following, because
I have my
eventually.
own channel now, and I've got an intro coming, and
Yeah.
I'm a cool person too.
So head on over to my channel. It's down in the description. I have a channel.
She's pretty popular. You should really come follow me.
So
I'm the one who needs people, and I have no friends, so except for you.
jeez.
Like,
So
come be my friend. We can be the friend squad.
yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys in whatever we make next.